Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going over this light that you see in my hand right here. This is the Surefire Backup with the MaxVision beam pattern. So basically this one is one of their newest lights in their lineup. This one I saw at SHOT Show, I guess back in January it was, and I hadn't heard anything about it at all. I actually saw it on their booth and no one really seemed to be paying attention to it. I picked it up and really liked the ergonomics of it, and I like my backup light that we've had here for a while and you guys have seen here before on the channel. So I wanted to get my hands on one of these for review for sure. They became available second quarter this year, so I put an order for one in. We've had it in for a couple months now and I've been using it all the time. And my wife has been using it all the time. My wife likes it. She thinks it's cute. So what we're going to do today is just take a look at the beam pattern itself, that MaxVision beam pattern, compare it to the older one, I believe, which has the TIR lens off the top of my head. Drop it a few times, see if it's as durable as it should be, being a Surefire product. We'll let the dogs take a look at it, of course, along the way. We'll come back in, take a look at the details of it, the specs of it, and at the end, we'll let you know what we think of it overall. Here we have the black of night in my backyard, about 35 feet away from us is that fence right there, so my camera will autofocus, and you can see there the beam pattern of the light, at least when it's on high. My camera will focus again. It doesn't have a big edge like a lot of the Surefire weapon lights do. It's a little bit more balanced in that regard, and it's a little bit less floody, of course. Plenty bright enough, as you guys can see, to light that fence up. Actually, I set my camera up so it generally looks like what you're seeing here on your camera is pretty much what I see with my eye. I can see a little bit more spill than you guys see on the camera, but that's about it. So that is the beam pattern on high, and we'll go click it on low, and you can see there, probably a little bit harder for the camera to focus. Let me illuminate it real quick just to get the camera to focus. There you go. So you can see there, you can still see along the fence line, but if you were trying to identify something or someone, you would definitely want to switch over to high. But for, book reading or something like that in your lap, the low will be just fine. I'll put my hand out in front of the camera so you guys can kind of see that. The low will light it up just fine at close distances, so that's sort of what it looks like, but it doesn't have the throw like the high does. This is the beam from the backup that you guys just saw. You can see it's totally different. So the reflector is very, very different. This is a very throwy beam with a lot of peak candela right there in the middle of the bright hot spot versus what we were just showing you with the new redesign here. So much floodier, much wider, more of like an EDC oriented light versus this one's more of a tactical, blind you a little bit type of light. Here we have a beam pattern that a lot of you are probably familiar with. This is the Surefire 600 Scout series light. Has a very good peak intensity there in the center, pretty decent spill, a little bit of an edge there on it to the reflector design, so it's definitely optimized for a little bit more throw. Of course, it's fine indoors and stuff like that, as many videos have proven on this light. But I just want to give you a sort of a more tried and true type of light pattern. And again, here we have the Backup MV. Very, very different overall. Just kind of compare them. See a real good hot spot here from the Scout, and then not so much here with the Backup MV. Mr. Colt didn't want to walk out there by the fence, but here's how he looks with the light on high, right next to the camera, and then on low. He's about probably 8-9 feet away from us right now. He's tuckered out. Probably time to go back to bed. But again, that was low. High, very bright. He's almost glowing on there. And then low. That's the beam pattern and how it compares. One thing Surefire is known for is its durability. So that's certainly one of the things that goes into the price point that you see right here. One thing that Surefire does is that they fully pot all of their electronics. So for those that don't know what that is, essentially think of it like concrete and rebar. So they put their electronics in and then put in a sort of like a polymer resin, and that would be the concrete in this example, and then that seals all the electronics in place. And what that does is several things. It makes it very durable in terms of weather resistance, but also impact resistance. So that's what we're going to test right here. We have concrete, which is my driveway. We're out here obviously in low light conditions. We're going to turn the light on and do a couple drop tests. I guess we'll probably turn on low for camera so that way it doesn't throw off the settings too bad. But what we're going to do is just drop it a few times on the concrete here with it on, see if it turns off, see if it will turn back on, those sorts of things, just basic durability test. I am 6 feet tall for those that don't know, and we'll see how it does. As you guys saw, still on. That was a pretty decent hit. We got some scuffs, but otherwise no worse for wear. Do it again. That one hit on the bezel. So again, we're still on, and drop it straight down on it when we turn it on. Direct hit, again, right on the chronoplated bezel, and as you guys can see, no problems at all. I'll do a tail cap drop just to see. Still stayed on, even with the direct impact. So, I mean, we could probably do this for a long time out here, but Surefire durability is what it is. It is one of the things that they are known for, one of the things that people are willing to, or that they require rather, for the price point that these are coming in at. So this one here seems to be right along the same lines in pedigree as the other Surefires we've tested here on the channel. We've seen the beam pattern, we've also seen the drop test, and one thing I know a lot of people want to get an idea of is just the basic size of it. So we have it here next to a few different lights. This is the Surefire Fury and Telebeam light. It's sort of more of a dual cell 1-inch light that a lot of people out there are going to be familiar with in terms of size wise. Then we have the backup here, which was my backup I've had for years now, and this is the one that we were comparing it to. It had a very different output in terms of the actual beam pattern. And then of course here we have the new backup with the MaxVision output. So that's sort of how they stack up size wise. You can get kind of an idea of how they're going to carry, in your pocket and things like that. When I first handled this light out at SHOT Show, the thing I really liked about it was just the ergonomics and the size of it. Now, basic specs on it is going to be the diameter of the bezel is going to be 1.13 inches. The overall length is going to be 3.87 inches. Weight with the batteries is still under 3 ounces. I think it's 2.95 or 9.6 on my scale, right in there. And then of course it is a 400 lumen light on high and then 5 lumen on low. So getting back into the ergonomics, one thing I really liked about it is the old backup that I had was a little bit longer than my hand. So I have relatively large hands, and if you take a look there, I can grab it and of course thumb operate it like this and still strike with it if I would need to. But one thing I like about it is you can almost conceal it in your hand. So if you're just walking down the street, you could walk just like this and no one would be any the wiser, and if they get up on you, you could just quick pop with that high output there, and definitely disorient them and move or draw your firearm should you need to in that type of situation. So I really do like the size of it and just how it fits in the hand. Now I have XL size hands for gloves. I can easily palm a basketball to give you guys some sort of an idea of how that actually fits, but I really did like that feature about it compared to other lights out there. As I just alluded to, it will always come on high. So the first time you press that button, you're going to get 400 lumens of light like we saw outside. The second time, you're going to get 5. So basically, you can either click it or momentary press and hold like this. Just momentary press, it'll come on and off. And then if you actually want to click the tail cap, you can do so and you will get constant on. Now if you want to go to low mode, pretty simple. You can do it again just with the momentary press by just doing it twice and get that nice low light, or same thing if you want to click it for constant on. So that is the basic operation of the light. I do like that it always comes on high. That's something I definitely like. Now the body of the light itself is made of aircraft grade aluminum. You can see we have very good anodizing all the way around here on the body, or rather all the way around on the tail cap, I should say, in sections here on the body. Feels good in the hand, ergonomic. It's exactly what you'd expect from Surefire. The fit and finish is flawless. The anodizing is even all the way around. Exactly what you'd expect from Surefire. Like I said, even after the drops, you guys can see there it's holding up pretty well. We got some minor scuffs, but that's to be expected. The clip here on the light is one thing I also like. This was also present on my earlier backup light, and the cool thing about this clip design is, number one, it's stainless steel, so it's going to be very resistant to breaking, as some sort of EDC light clips can do. You can see it kind of melds into the body down here, and it can either be carried tail cap up or tail cap down. So if you want to actually carry it up, you can use this side of the clip and slip that in your pants. And then if you want to carry it with bezel up, you just use this end and slip it down into your pants. So it works either way in your pants pocket, however you feel comfortable drawing the light, whichever way you prefer ergonomically, it's good to go. Another feature of the tail cap here is that it is a lockout style tail cap. So if you want to prevent your battery from draining, say if you leave it in a vehicle or in some luggage while traveling, you can basically just turn it. Now I have it here in the low mode to sort of just illustrate the point. But if you turn the tail cap approximately a quarter turn like that, it will lock out with it on. Now at this point, you can still actually click it and engage the battery. But that's when it's depressed all the way in. If you want to actually even prevent that, turn it about another quarter turn, and you can't do that at all. It will not engage, so that will prevent the battery from draining. Now in terms of battery runtime, you're going to get the numbers here that you see on the bottom of your screen, and just for disassembly, we will pull that all apart and kind of show you guys how it works. It's basically a three-piece. Of course, you could actually break it down further than this if you want to, but basically a three-piece design with the body, tail cap, and the head. It is designed to run on CR123 lithium batteries, of course, but it will run on RCR123 if you guys want to use the rechargeables. The light will operate on it. Now, I'm sure Surefire recommends against that, but it is something to note that it is possible to do. Now, also note that it is O-ring and gasket sealed there for weather resistance. You can see it all the way around. Very nice threading, no burrs or anything like that when you're actually screwing it back down. It's, you know, it's what you would expect from Surefire in terms of an EDC type light. I think we hit most of the little details. Now, in terms of actual practical usage, just sort of to discuss that, a lot of folks out there were saying that perhaps 400 lumens is too much for an EDC type light and that you just don't need that type of output. Now, if you have something like a TIR lens, which is what, you know, the earlier ones were, more focused, more throwy lens, I can kind of see that argument. But if you're using a very floody lens like we have here to give you more situational awareness in a sort of tactical environment, I think having those 400 lumens definitely can be advantageous, because when you're spreading the light out further, you need more power to be able to illuminate everything you see. So I think it's good. I'm a fan of the 400 lumen output. Now, the 5 lumen low is also something people were discussing. Now, a lot of people were saying it was not enough. It should be 10, it should be 15. Other people were saying it's just fine. And from practical usage, here's kind of what I can see. So the other day I was sitting there watching TV. I had a lamp on in the living room, and I have a chair and then a side desk next to it that actually holds my hard drives and stuff. Not that you guys care about any of this, but anyway, so the point is there's a gap between the chair and the desk, if that makes sense. And I dropped something down there and I wanted to look for it. And basically on 5 lumens with the lamp on and other exterior lighting, the television and stuff like that, it may have been better if it was 10 or 15. Now, I've also used this light with the low setting in completely dark environments, like when I go out in my garage and poke around out there to get stuff. And in that environment, 5 lumens is plenty once your eyes are adjusted to it and you're used to the extreme low light. So if you're outdoors or something like that at night, that 5 lumens is going to be plenty for most everyday tasks. So sort of depends what you want. And I suppose being Surefire or any light manufacturer, you can never pick what everybody's going to want. But it is nice to have that long battery life for sure, should you be doing something that would require it. So that certainly is a nice thing. Now, in terms of price, like we alluded to earlier, it's not cheap. It's not a cheap light, and they don't pretend to be a cheap light and don't market it as a cheap light. So I think the MSRP on it is like $225 or something like that. I looked around today, and the cheapest I could find it was $199, shipped on Amazon and Optics Planet. Of course, with Optics Planet, they do have the Mr. Guns and Gear channel discount that you see here on the bottom of your screen, which is always nice. So it'll get it to you a little bit cheaper there, but we'll put links down below for both of them. So it is not cheap. It's not pretending to be cheap. And yes, I know there's a ton of EDC lights out there that are $35 and $40. I've reviewed some of them here. Now, I would say that a lot of those lights do work and will work well for a lot of folks, but you know, it really is a Toyota versus Lexus kind of thing. Both cars will get you there at the same time in the same manner, but being in them is a different experience. And it's the same thing, I think, with Surefire. Like I said, if you actually feel it, hold it, run the controls, it's definitely nicer than other things. And of course, the dependability and the pot of electronics that we talked about earlier, the dependability, hammering on that one, is really what you're paying for there with Surefire, in my opinion. So for a defensive type light or something that may be used in an application, I think it's worth the money, at least for me personally, to go ahead and go for that. But I know many of you guys won't, and I'm not going to argue on that. It's really not for everybody. Same thing. I drive a Toyota, I don't drive a Lexus, right? So for me, a car, it's not worth it. Now, for something that I might use for defense, it is worth it. It sort of depends what you like and what you value. But I do like this light. It will be my new EDC light. It has been actually for a few weeks now, because I've been a fan of it, and I'm going to be carrying it more and more. Really like it, and that's pretty much it. If you guys have any questions or comments about the light, by all means, you can always post down below in the comment section. You can also post over at my Facebook page. As always, that is the best way to get in touch with me these days with YouTube's new algorithm. I don't always see all the comments here on YouTube, so that's about it. If you're new to the video and like what you saw, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. But as always, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing, for those of you that do. And we'll see you guys in the next video.